Thanks, Vicky. Thank you.
See you later. Ta-da.
Let's wait till she's out of earshot.
She's gone. Go on.
Pocket what?
Devils. It's quite phallic, isn't it? It's like Sex Pistols, you know?
Was it? Were all the band members from Wales as well?
Yeah, they were all from the same town as me, really, Merthyr Tydfil.
Because there wasn't a lot to do except pick strange names for a band. You ended
It
up...
was a Richard Burton quote.
Was
I
it?
mention
So we're
that,
back to him again.
From a film called The Medusa Touch in the 70s.
That's a fantastic film.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
that.
So it was a bit like, he did a famous line from it, calling it something of the Pocket Devils, so we stole it. Great name for a band, and it's a kind of, that was our name. So yeah, there's a bit of a reason.
And what was your high
behind it.
point in that band? What was the pinnacle of your career in that band?
We did all right actually. We did we got signed to Sanctuary Warner. And we never got on the top 40, but we supported some big bands. We supported like In Excess in their heyday. Welcome to Radio Stars. Tour in Britain, yeah. Stereophonics and stuff.
Did they share groupies?
No, he was going up with.
You supported the Stereophonics, really?
Yeah,
that's so funny. They're lovely. Everyone know them from years ago.
From like the town next door to us, Aberdeen. I'm from Merthyr. Catatonia. Went to America by Sony, flew us over to New York, played Sears Studios.
Wow.
So yeah, we did all right. We were a decent sort of moddy Britpop band, you know.
You weren't tempted to sneak a few Pocket Devils hits into the film at all?
Do you know I did on the Virals? The opening track
Yeah.
of the Virals was a Pocket Devil song, but I didn't. But it's quite funny. I'll give you it actually. It got played on Radio 6 today on the NME.
Did it? I love it.
I wrote a song for the film, but never in the film. But to use for the prems, just so they would look like they were playing something as other stuff was going on.
So you wrote the prem song for
yeah,
I love that.
Letter Bomb.
That's so
and,
cool.
And they
you
quite
come
liked
up with the
it.
names,
yeah.
Letter Bomb,
yeah.
Pocket Devil.
I thought quite sort of, dangerous. and yes, got played today on Radio 6 and Soccer AM on the weekend. Yeah, it's good.
That's fantastic. Do you think you might get? You've got way too much on your plate now.
Yeah, it could never be a young man's game.
Yeah.
Lumping amps and all that and sleeping in vans.
But you're very good at soccer, I know this, because it's Soccer 6.
Yeah, I like football. I enjoyed playing football, and I'm getting a bit old now. The joints are getting a bit creaky. But I came out of retirement for the Soccer 6.
Yeah.
And obviously I like football. I support Cardiff City. Well, that doesn't mean I like football, so I'm Cardiff City, but yeah, I go on stuff like Soccer AM and things like that, and I can talk about the game, Yeah,
That's
football
fantastic.
we call it.
Yes.
Soccer, no, yeah.
Well, yes, but I've been here a long time. They've beaten it out of me.
Yeah, good.
But you have to. It's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to be football.
Speaking of which, with your Welsh accent in the film, when you went to New York,
yeah.
how did the Americans react to were they able to catch it, and did they get the nuances of the game over here in terms of rock industry being what it is?
Very specific jokes about sort of Wales and stuff. I'm not sure they got them, but there was never any complaints about the accent. They loved it. But New York is it's a European city,
It
the
is,
East Coast, New York, Boston, they get Europe and they love us, and they tend to be Anglophiles, so they got the British music scene, and they do love sort of London bands and all that. So I got a great response. I mean, we went down the next morning, me and Vicky, to the CBGB's cinema, and we got outside and they were all leaving, and we didn't realise, because we had to collect the tape, because that was given to us by Universal to go over to New York. And as we were standing there, I had a tracksuit on and she did, and we were on a cigarette, and they all piled out.
Yeah.
And they all piled out and went, "It's Dixie and Jane, it's Dixie and Shell." We were like, "Hello," so they had loads of photographs of us and all that, and they were like, "So nice you've come down to the cinema." Yeah, they were really cool actually. So
class.
we picked up a lot of support over there, and the Bowery Boogie, which is a big blog over there, well known, they gave us a great review. So it was well worth doing. I loved it over there,
And the festivals, because you did sort of soft launch at the festivals this past summer.
We did like the sort of the serious filmic ones like Edinburgh and stuff.
But the music festivals.
Yeah, we did Glastonbury and Latitude and all those kind of things. We're doing a few this year as well, like sort of Festival Number 6 and stuff like that. It's a good home for it, I think. All the festivals want to show it. So we're going to do a lot of that. You know what I mean? But I quite enjoy doing that, travelling around and doing, because you get music fans and you get film fans.
Exactly.
They set these tents up and they were full, So do a little Q&A after, and it was great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was good.
And with the prems, I mean, I can't remember who I was speaking to, and they were saying that the songs were good enough for, getting out there. You've got one on the
on
track.
the radio, yeah. Well, what I was in my head, I was jogging around Hyde Park, and I kept listening to "I Want to Be Your Dog" by the Stooges, and that's how I envisaged the prems would sound. I think music needs a Stooges,
Yeah, it's sort of like a sloppy, hard, messy,
garage kind of,
fun, Yeah, and also like smells like sex and beer and stuff.
That's it. You got it.
She got a TV on. She got a TV on me.
No one knew what Iggy was going to do next.
So when we played it, we played with an open hi-hat, which really cuts through on stereos and stuff on the song, and I played similar chord progression.
So you played all that, basically recorded it yourself?
Well, I got a drummer in,
Aye.
and I played a bass and guitar, and I got another guitarist on who's a great guy called Gully, who helped me arrange it all and put it together and stuff, and we went for a very specific sound, and then Universal had it, and they were going, this is really good, would you like us to take it off?
Can we sign this band?
Yeah, could we tidy it up? And we went, no, it has to stay like that. And they were like, okay. So it wasn't, tidied up, it was done like a band, sort of in a garage.
Demoing.
Yeah, so they let us do that, so there was a bit of savvy behind it, really.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
All these strings to your bow, do you find it hard to concentrate on any one
Jack
thing?
of all trades, isn't it?
Exactly.
I do think I get bored quite easy, which is a good thing or a bad thing, but I do like sort of doing lots of different things, so I was obviously involved in the writing and the acting and the music side of things, helping with the soundtrack and stuff, I mean, this movie is kind of like me, really, I want to stand and fall by it, but I wanted to do a movie where people could go and just enjoy a movie, there was no domestic violence or nothing sort of overly sexual. It's a good movie, you can go and have a laugh, do you know what I mean? I wanted to make that kind of movie where you could go and just, take your fella or your girlfriend and think, I really enjoyed that, it was good fun.
The process of making an independent film is a bloody tricky one, as we know.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I mean, you've got, the amazing cameos you had, you must have had, did people kind of rally around you from that? I'm genuinely curious as how you ended up from that. Because, I mean, you have experience in working actor, writer, and all that stuff. So, but how did it come to that crescendo where you knew you were going to make the picture? What was that moment for you as well?
Well, it was when the investor sort of said to me, look, do you want to make this into a movie? Which was amazing.
So they approached you.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they did. They got in touch with me, Martin Root and a guy called Mark. And I'd been knocking around for about 2 or 3 years at that point, just doing the virals myself. But they got a very cult following. A lot of the broadsheets had said how good it was and on the net. And people like Martin Freeman had acted in it at that point, and Maxine Peake. Those kind of people were like
phenomenal roll call. The people
doing it for nothing, just because they liked it and they liked what it was
quite
about.
like you.
Yeah,
clearly. Yeah.
But I think if you're nice to people, because you like them, and they tend to be nice back.
And don't kiss their ass.
Yeah, just genuinely just go,
Dude, but you did it.
Yeah, I'm up for it. I'm up for it.
I'll buy you a pint.
Yeah, literally. So they did it. But when the film dropped, they said if you could get Martin Freeman to do it, because he'd gone stellar at that point, and done Sherlock, and he just got The Hobbit. They said we can fund the money, and bless him, he sent an email back from New Zealand where he was filming, saying I'm going to do this movie for Jonny, and he came back and filmed it.
Dude.
So I know, what a guy. And a similar thing happened with the soundtrack. I asked for the Who, and I had to write off to Pete Townsend, and he said yes. And he did it for a rate.
Wow.
He did it for a rate. Everybody else sort of went, we want to do it for that as well. So
fantastic.
You've got to get a good actor, you get a good band, or legendary actor, and then everybody else falls into place.
Amazing.
That's the way to do it, kids.
Yeah. But no, and it's perseverance, like you say, that's a lot of bloody work doing that viral show on your own graft, your own pocket money, so just, that would have kept you in some, Well,
it was financially it was no reward at all. It was absolutely punk. I was doing it sort of myself with 1 or 2 others, and like Roger Evans with Ace Horsey, and Alan McGee was involved. But I was actually doing it myself and keeping it going and trying to keep the momentum going, and perseverance is the key. Always in the arts. It sounds weird. You obviously got a modicum of luck and talent and all that, but the biggest one is perseverance.
It's hard bloody graft.
Yeah,
exactly.
True,
You can't just give up because you can't afford to eat.
You can't.
That kind of
and
thing.
the weird thing is, Heather, right? Is people fall by the wayside, and the weird thing is you're almost like the last man standing.
Yeah. No, it's a sad story.
Yeah.
Or you see a lot of people that have done well in a sort of corporate environment, but they're not doing anything in a more creative. They're not sharing anything themselves. I don't know anything about you. I don't know what you stand for. You're making schlock television about schlock bullshit. Who cares?
Well, and I think the thing is, well, the finance people kind of did say to me, we're willing to invest in this because you kept at it for a long time. We can see you got staying power.
You're not going to disappear with a bag of money either.
Absolutely, yeah.
You want to actually do it
as well, yeah. So they kind of go, all right, if it's like a really good gigging band who've done it for 2-3 years, you sign them, you go, well, you're not going to disappear overnight.
No, exactly.
You've got guts and balls, and you stay there. Do you know what I mean?
You're going to earn your pennies, exactly.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the greatest band, in my opinion, ever, the Beatles. When they first got signed, I mean, they'd slogged it for years in Hamburg, didn't they?
Yeah.
So when they they said to them, right,
Caught every VD
yeah,
going.
to get it all, yeah.
They threw their whole body and soul into that. Yeah.
So, and as soon as they got signed, I remember reading about them, like their gig, itinerary was shocking. 2 gigs a day, a matinee and an evening, for every day, of the year, and they just did it.
And they did it with cans of beans and beer kind
of
thing. Yeah,
literally,
yeah.
like
literally
just traveling.
That's hungry, and
it is. I know.
But I mean, and you kind of wonder with the music industry, what's lovely about Svengali is it's got so much character and soul, but that it shows that you don't just turn up overnight, sing to a bunch of assholes in an auditorium, and get famous for nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a nice little life lesson wrapped in comedy and fun.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing was, we were talking earlier on, that the band that I think the world needs at the moment is a Stooges, kind of Sex Pistols, something a bit dangerous, really.
Yeah, and do it just DIY as
DIY,
well.
so because rock and roll should be a bit dangerous, I mean, I remember I used to go to early Oasis gigs, and you didn't know whether they were going to turn violent.
No,
or,
exactly.
It was always a bit like, all right.
Don't know if you're going to get your head kicked in by the headliner.
Exactly.
You got to like that.
I know.
That's rock and roll.
So I wanted that in the film where, you got this gig and actually at any point it could just turn, like the Jesus and Mary Chain gigs were and all that kind of stuff. So we spoke about that, and we try to get the audience quite drunk, get them sort of really in the mood. And everybody talks about the gig scene, which is really sort of rocks about. But, those kind of bands, the feral kind of feel of rock and roll, which goes right back to sort of the Blackboard Jungle where people used to slash seats and have the Teddy Boys and then the mods,
Well, exactly, but
it's also very
hormonal.
It
it's
is
very instinctual music.
Yeah.
So, do you ever get tempted to help bands out because it is a disease?
Well, I do what I can. On the soundtrack there's a band called Keys from South Wales. Everybody, Universal has gone. These some sort of undiscovered gem from the mid-70s, a bit like Big Star. I'm like, no, they're from like Resolve and But I said, so there's loads of bands out there, and obviously because of the character and who I am in the series, I answer everybody that gets in touch with the Facebook page or sends me, then I listen to it and then let them know what I think, which is I always try to be positive and say, I think this and think that, and you should do this.
And it's my opinion, exactly. Yeah,
that's all it is. I mean, I would never ever be negative about anybody's music because their music and it's their art. It's what they do. So definitely try to do that. With Svengali, because the messages of the virals and the whole thing is that you should stick at what you're doing. Perseverance.
Somebody out there will like it too.
Yeah, never let the naysayers get you down. There's always going to be somebody saying something negative, but it always comes from a place of jealousy. So never worry about that.
On the social media, because that's such a big thing with the viral, what's been the weirdest interchange you've had on there?
With people?
Yeah.
Well,
not with yourself.
No.
With others.
The ones that always get me, which is really sweet, but it's always the ones I think, oh God, this is going to take 20 minutes. The ones that almost daily go hi, and you go hello, because you've got to answer.
Just the hi,
They go, how are you? And I go, not too bad. How are you? And they go, not too bad. What are you up to? And I go, I'm doing a bit of press today.
Yeah.
Okay. And every day I try to give them a little bit of time, but those are the ones where you just think, they just want a little chat, and you've got to answer,
you got to wonder what's happening on the other end as well, because I mean, you have times that, because doing the music thing, you'll get bands, and you think you've got to be really delicate, because you don't know what state someone's in on the other end of the line there.
Yeah, exactly. So
and you don't want to be the last person to say,
So I always answer, and I always give them a bit of time, bless them, But the ones who are one word answer, going, okay, fine, what are you up to?
And one word.
Yeah.
What'd you have for breakfast?
Yeah, and it's knowing when to pull out then, say, okay, I've got to go now, but all the best and speak soon.
What's your best excuse? I got to go, I need a shit, or something.
Mine is that, I don't know mine, actually, it's a good question. Food, got to go and eat.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
I was starving making that viral. They've paid me a little bit up front. I'm going to go get me some beans on toast.
Yeah. Gonna burn otherwise.
Throw the boat out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to say to anybody about the film and about what you do next, or anything, Jonny, that you want to talk about?
Well, I'd just like to say to people, like, if you can, go and watch it in the cinemas on the 21st of March when it's out. It's on.
And they can find everything on the website.
On the website, which is Svengali Facebook page, Svengali movie, www.svengalimovie.com, and also it's available for download. It's available on DVD on April the 7th.
Cool.
So buy it, and if you buy it and
support independent film.
Yeah, it is. It's basically
so we can have more.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you got to do.
And the same with music as well. There's a soundtrack there which is great, And I hate the word when you say, because somebody asked me, do you try to educate people with a soundtrack? It sounds quite patronising. It's not that. It's enlightening people. So if they listen to something like Georgie Fame, Somebody Stole My Thunder, which is an amazing song, they go, this song is fantastic. So you brought that into their life, and job done, isn't it?
And music sharing is that. It's one of those things. It's like when you go to DJ and you're, no, listen to this.
Yes.
So you get really But it's lovely, and also it's suited where you need to put it in the film as well. So
Absolutely.
set your moods and
It's all sort of like beautiful synchronicities. It's where it all, like, the music, the film, and what it's about, the ethos, and just trying to encourage bands, actors, people making virals,
writers.
Everybody, I say this to everybody, it's the old punk saying, is like, there's A, there's E, there's D from the band. With me, I'll say this to you, look, there's your fingers, there's your iPhone, press record, go and film something.
Hey, I like it.
There's YouTube, just put it out.
So before we go, what secret are you going to tell us about Vicky then? Seeing as we got rid of her,
What secret?
what's something that she doesn't want us to know, but won't hurt her feelings too badly?
Vicky's
Having
secret.
known her now for a while.
It's Vicky's secret.
I saw a picture she put up of you the other day
Oh yeah,
in a
got really
compromised
drunk.
position.
So drunk.
I'm trying to
When
get out of it. I wasn't that drunk.
I know.
Evidence.
Camera phones, they're swines,
Yeah,
isn't they?
see? Yeah, you got to watch them.
Yeah, I know. It was there. She really likes Nutella, that chocolate stuff, and she has it in the morning on toast. Chocolate on
What if there's a
toast
cocktail
in the
you can
morning.
make with it?
Yeah, chocolate cocktail. She's a big one for that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Jonny, thank you so much. What a pleasure.
Oh, it's been absolutely
And
awesome.
much more grand success in the
Thank
future,
you
my
very
love.
much for all your support and everything else.
Hey,
and
my
thank you
pleasure.
all out there.